Right back on the Newsfeed PM. As a result of the 2025 matric results, the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, SADAG, has issued an urgent appeal to parents and guardians to remain positive and supportive with anxiety levels reaching a tipping point for thousands of learners. SADAG emphasized that a parent's reaction can significantly influence a child's mental well-being and their ability to navigate the outcomes, whether successful or disappointing. Let's talk about this further now with SADAG Education Manager Roshni Parbhoo-Seetha. Roshni, I appreciate your time and thank you so much for coming on. I mean, what generally, when we take a thermometer of the temperature as far as mental health is concerned, would be the state of South African families around this time of the release of matric results?
Our families are struggling right now. You know, we're just coming off the festive season. And for our matriculant learners and their families, they've been going through a bit of an overwhelming time. You know, after writing the exams, which already is a really tough year, they get to ease off a bit after those exams, but then their anxiety continues, waiting for these results. And so this has been an incredibly difficult week. And coming up to the release of those results on Monday, many parents and family members, community members even, and learners are struggling. You know, it seems like this time is dragging out. And so it's a really overwhelming, stressful time as they wait for these results.
Yeah. You're cautioning against what is called over-coddling. I'm not familiar with the term.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Yes. And so this is a time when parents are constantly checking in and trying to make kids, you know, feel extra, are you okay? Do you need anything? And which is also fine, which is also okay. But then suddenly when the results come and it's not what they expected, we are not caring, or we are too angry and we are too upset. And we need to be careful of that, because the results may not be what these children are expecting. And then we can't be angry. We need to be just as supportive. And so we need to be cautious of what we are doing now, and we need to carry on with that. As parents, we need to be very careful, because these children are really worried and they are really stressed out. They feel as if their whole future depends on this. And yes, it does. But what we also want them to remember is that there is a plan B and there is a plan C. And this shouldn't feel like a life sentence. So when it comes to over-coddling, just keep a constant routine, maintain a normal routine, a routine that you will be able to maintain after these results are out. And one that you will be able to continue, one that you will be able to support after these results are out. And so be careful not to overcompensate, where your child also feels a little bit suffocated. And also remember that organizations like SADAG are available not only for your learners, but for parents as well, because parents are not really sure what to do at a time like this.
Yeah. What's the net effect of that over-coddling and then pulling back, so that inconsistency on the learner?
It's very confusing. It's very confusing because our learners are not sure of now what's happened. They cared so much. They were so worried about me. And suddenly they are so disappointed. I've disappointed them so much that suddenly they don't care anymore. This is what I've done to them. It doesn't matter anymore. You know, they don't care. They're so angry. They are so upset. And so they become so confused and even more disappointed with themselves and more disappointed in what they have done to their family members. And that's not what we want them to feel. They're already feeling that pressure. And if the results are not what they wanted, they will already feel even more disappointed, not only in themselves and what they have done to us as parents and family members. And we don't want them to feel that. Again, we want to remind not only our learners, but also our family members that this is not the end of the road. If the results they get are not what they expected, there are so many other options that are available. And if you are not sure where to start to find out what those options are, reach out to the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. We can direct you on where to go and where to start looking out for those options.
Yeah, I think that's the space that maybe at some point parents might find difficult navigating, where you want to build hope, but you don't want to build false hope. So you want a reality check, but at the same time, not sound negative. How do you navigate that space?
And this is the most important thing, and this is what I want to remind parents is all you need to do right now is just be a parent. You don't need to be a psychologist. You don't need to be a counselor. And I think this is what a lot of parents forget at this time. You don't need to be anything but a mom or a dad or a loved one. You don't need to know what all the answers are. Just be there. Just be supportive. Just be loving. Just be kind. Just have that, give that safe space. We don't all know what the right answers are. And so try not to compare. And that's the most important thing. I think as parents, we're always comparing our kids to someone else. Oh, look how well he did. How did he manage to do it? And you couldn't. Why didn't you work as hard as he did? So be very mindful of what is coming out of your mouth, because it could come out as a bit negative. And already these kids have felt very disappointed, especially if they haven't received the results that they wanted. And so we have to be very mindful of what is coming out of our mouths at this time, especially.
Roshni, a lot of advice would have been given parents who had matriculants at the time of writing to say, look, it's a time of heightened stress. Here's what you do. Make sure they rest, give them quiet space to study, give them nutritious meal, and so on and so forth. All those kind of tips that parents would have been given. What are those tips at this time when this stress is equally high, but now not from having to exert yourself in an exam, but having to await results?
Constantly check in on your child. Ask them how they're doing. Do they need anything? Do they need to chat about anything? How are you feeling? And that's it. That's all you need to do. Maintain a routine. Maintain a constant routine, but constantly check in. And look out for those signs. Look out for little changes. As a parent, you know if there's a change with your child. Are they eating too much or eating too little? Is there a change in their mood? Is there a change in their behavior? Are they withdrawing from family or friends? Have they stopped doing things that they normally enjoy doing? Look out for those little changes. And the minute you sense something is not okay, check in, ask those questions. I've noticed you're not doing okay, or you're not like how you used to be. Something's changed. What's up? Ask those questions. And if you feel like something's a little bit off and you're scared to ask the questions, reach out to us and say, look, something's not feeling right. Do you think I should reach out to my child? What should I say? What is a good conversation starter? Because sometimes we're not sure what to say. Yeah. Reach out to us. But as a parent, you have that gut feel. Always trust your instincts. But open those little conversations. Keep the lines of communication open, because often that's what your child needs. They just need you to say, what's up? Something doesn't feel right. So that they can say, look, I'm stressed. I'm worried. I don't feel like this is going to go well. And then we can say, well, if it doesn't, we'll find a plan B. And that's okay too.
I mean, you've asked that question and you've opened the door, and then the response that you get, here's a word that you guys use in your field, is a child maybe who's prone to catastrophizing. How do you deal with that?
Don't get scared. Don't get scared. So as parents, we often, and the thing is, sometimes we tend to worry when they make it bigger than it seems. And we don't worry. We're like, oh, you're just being dramatic. Sometimes maybe they're not being dramatic. Sometimes they really are worried. We can't just play it off as, oh, you're just being overly dramatic. We have to take everything very, very seriously. Because you never know what they are really feeling. And again, if you are not sure, reach out to a counselor at the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. We will walk you through it, or we will say, put your learner on the line, or put your child on the line. Let us speak to them. Let's talk it through with them. But the thing is that we don't know what they are really feeling right now. It's such an overwhelming time. And we are not downplaying what parents are going through. Parents are going through the most as well. As much as your child is sitting in bed staring at the ceiling, so many parents are doing the same thing right now. They are also sitting in bed staring at the ceiling thinking, what is going to happen on Monday? So learners, we are there for you, but parents, we are there for you just as much, because this is a really difficult time as well. Whatever they are saying, whether it's really big or really little, take everything seriously. They are not being overly dramatic. They are not downplaying it. Whatever they are saying, take it really, really seriously.
I suppose it goes without say that service is also available to those students who would really be isolated in real terms, actually don't have parents to go to and vent out and are feeling that sense of isolation to use similar services?
Absolutely. It's most importantly there for them, for those that have support, for those that don't have support. We are available 24/7, 365 days a year. If you need our help at 2 p.m. in the afternoon or 2 a.m. in the morning, there's a counselor available all the time. We had calls from learners on Christmas Day. Everyone is so excited, and all I can think about is my results that are coming out. And so there's always someone available. And so please reach out to us if you have no support. Not everyone has someone to speak to. There may be learners who lost a family member during their matric year, and that may have been the one family member they leaned on. We are there for you especially. Please reach out to the counselors at the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. Let us be that person for you.
Education Manager at SADAG, that's Roshni Parbhoo-Seetha. Appreciate your time, Roshni. Thank you very much for coming on in your intervention.